You know, fellas, we have an excellent fight coming up. An excellent fight. And that is a fight between Josh Taylor and Viktor Postol. Or Postol. That is it's going to be a big fight. Josh Taylor is defending, I believe, his WBC interim 140-pound title. And I'll tell you why I think this is an interesting fight. First of all, I'm making this video because not enough people are talking about this fight. You know, this is a big deal fight, in my opinion, for Josh Taylor. And not enough people are making an effort to make a video about this fight, because I don't see no channels talking about this fight. And I'll tell you why this is a big deal for someone like Josh Taylor, because this guy is really just a prospect, and he's fighting a former champion in Viktor Postol. Now, Josh Taylor has, I believe, 12 pro fights. Viktor Postol has almost 30 pro fights. And as we all know, if you've been following Viktor Postol's career, his only defeat came in the hands of Terence Crawford. Prior to losing to Terence Crawford, he was undefeated. He was a reigning champion. I believe he was the WBO, or was it the WBC 140-pound champion. Who could forget when he stopped, and when he basically, because he was supposed to lose to Lucas Matisse, and he went in there and made Lucas Matisse basically quit. The only thing that concerns me of this fight for somebody like, if I'm a Viktor Postol fan, the only thing that concerns me for him going into this fight is the fact that he's been very inactive. When he fought Terence Crawford, he was very active. You know, this was a guy who was fighting 2 times a year. So the version that Terence Crawford fought was an active version. Ever since he lost, because let's be real, he got schooled by Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford embarrassed him. He got dropped like 5 times or 3 times, and Terence Crawford just outboxed him. But when he lost to Terence Crawford, he took like a 20-month layoff. He just did not fight for 20 months, and he recently came back last year against a guy I never heard of. And he beat that guy. I don't know if he stopped. I believe he stopped him, but he beat him. But that was off a 20-month layoff. So he hasn't fought since then. It is June. So in the past 2 years, Viktor Postol has only fought once. Well, he hasn't fought since September. So he's coming off of last year. So he's coming off a 10-month layoff. And prior to that, he was coming off a 20-month layoff when he got schooled against Terence Crawford. So that's the only thing that will concern me if I'm like a Ukrainian boxing fan and I'm rooting for Viktor Postol, is the fact that he's been very inactive. So even though he has the talent, in my opinion, to be in a very high quality fight with Josh Taylor, he's been very inactive, and I think that's going to affect him. Josh Taylor, on the other hand, has been very active. I remember I covered his fight when he fought O'Hara Davis, when he exposed O'Hara Davis. I remember leading up to that fight, people were acting like O'Hara Davis was the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know, he was undefeated. He was supposed to be the next UK star because he had a big mouth, and then he ran into Josh Taylor and got schooled. So that's the only thing that concerns me with Viktor Postol, is despite the fact that he has the talent and ability to do really well against someone like Josh Taylor, or in fact beat him, he's been very inactive. So will that play a part? Will him being rusty and not being active affect him? Because these things affect fighters. You know, how good of a shape is Viktor Postol is? How much confidence does he have since getting schooled by Terence Crawford? I think this is an excellent fight because these are 2 technicians. You know, both Josh Taylor. See, that's what happens when you talk so much about the heavyweight division, particularly Joshua and Wilder. All you think about is Joshua. Both See, there I go again. Both Josh Taylor and Viktor Postol are technicians. You know, Viktor Postol fights like a traditional Ukrainian fighter. Viktor Postol fights like, you know, Vladimir Klitschko. You know, he's a guy that throws a jab, he moves, he uses his height and reach very well. And Josh Taylor is also a technician himself. He doesn't necessarily fight like Viktor Postol, but he does fight in a technical way. So this is basically a fight between 2 technicians. So if you're one of those boxing fans that are really big into, you know, technical fighters, I think this is a good fight. Or if you're basically a boxing purist, this would be a good fight for you. I think you guys would like this fight. But do I think this fight's going to be a barn burner? No, because stylistically, these guys are very technical, and a lot of times when two technical fighters fight, it ends up being, I'm not going to say necessarily a stinker, but it's not the most fun fight to watch. So I don't think this fight is going to be that exciting. That's my prediction. I don't think it's going to be that exciting. And I don't think that these guys will get knocked down. If anyone's going to get knocked down, it'll probably be Viktor Postol, just because, like I said, I don't know where he's at condition-wise. He hasn't fought in 2 years, and, he might be rusty, so he might get caught with something early and get dropped. But I think this fight's going the distance. And what I'm really looking forward to is how Josh Taylor deals with this, because this is by far Josh Taylor's biggest fight in his career, his best opponent. Viktor Postol is way better in terms of skill set than someone like Ahara Davis. These are facts. Hashtag FACTS. Facts, bro. Way better than someone than Ahara Davis. So, this is going to be... I'm curious to see how he adapts to Viktor Postol's style. Again, if this is the same Viktor Postol that fought Lucas Matisse and, Alice, whatever his name is, Alec Aldine, then he should be a really tough task for someone like Josh Taylor. Again, I don't expect this fight to be that exciting, that appealing to the eye. I think it's going to be more of a technical fight. I expect this fight to go the distance, but I think it's a fight that either guy could win. I think Josh Taylor could win, but I also think Viktor Postol could win, especially if he's still the same. I would only be favoring or leaning towards more Josh Taylor if Viktor Postol is rusty, because like I said, he's been very inactive for the past 2 years. I don't want people to think this is the same Viktor Postol that fought Terence Crawford. The Viktor Postol that fought Terence Crawford was very active. This guy has fought once in 2 years, so we have to keep that in mind, because these things affect fighters. But like I said, regardless, I think this is still a really good fight for someone like Josh Taylor, especially in his level. This guy has 13 fights. This is I like this. I'm impressed by this. When Josh Taylor, he's willing to take these risks. I don't think he has to take this fight, but he's willing to take this fight. And let's see who wins. I really don't care who wins, but I think that I praise Josh Taylor, because I think this is a good move for his career right now. He's taking risks very early. He took a risk with Ahara Davis. A lot of people I remember leading up to that fight, last year were saying Ahara Davis. It's been a year now. Wow, has it really been a year? Crazy how fast. I remember my original channel, I covered that. But yeah, it's been like a year, and I remember a lot of people were acting like Josh Taylor was going to lose to Ahara Davis, but Davis ended up getting exposed for having no heart. That's right, he has no heart. But yeah, and now he's fighting Viktor Postol, a former champion, so this is good. I like this. This tells me he won't be ducking anybody. You can see the character of a fighter depending on the guys they fight. If they're fighting top quality guys early on, that means if they ever become superstar status, they're never gonna be ducking guys, because they're not built like that. Like some dudes, they be cherry picking for years, and then when they are finally in that level, they be cherry picking still. So I like this. This tells me he's not gonna be no cherry picker. I like Josh Taylor, and I don't know who's gonna win the fight, but that's a good fight, and that's why I'm making this video, to promote it a little bit, because ain't nobody talking about this fight. Anyway, guys, subscribe, and I'm out.